So a father and his 6-year-old daughter were out fishing on Lake Michigan when they found something way bigger than the regular fish they were after. Their boat's sonar picked up a strange object on the lake floor. The girl, Henley, thought maybe it was just an octopus playing around, but her father, Tim, had a feeling it was a shipwreck. He shared sonar images of their finds with some Facebook groups. Maritime archaeologists got interested in the post, and now they believe that Tim and Henley may have discovered the wreck of the George L. Newman, a ship that sank over 150 years ago during the Great Peshtigo Fire. They found confirmation of the shipwreck in the archives and convinced the authorities to check it out using a remotely operated vehicle. It captured good quality photos and videos of the wreck and backed up the theory. The George L. Newman was a 122-foot-long sailing ship called a barkentine. Shipbuilder Benjamin Flint finished it in Black River, Ohio in 1855. Barkentines were really handy because you could sail them with a smaller crew than other ships of the time. On the day it sank, the George L. Newman was hauling lumber from Little Swamico, Wisconsin. At the same time, the Great Peshtigo Fire started as a small brush fire, probably caused by railroad workers clearing land for train tracks. It multiplied in size and burnt over a huge territory and wiped out the city of Peshtigo in about an hour and took 16 other towns. The flames even jumped over the waters of Green Bay. The fumes from that massive fire were so thick, the crew of the George L. Newman couldn't see anything. The ship ran aground near the southeast point at Green Island. The local lighthouse keeper managed to rescue the crew. They stayed at the lighthouse for a week and tried to save whatever they could from the stranded ship. At some point, they gave up and left it behind. Over the years, sand buried the wreck, and people mostly forgot about it until Tim and Henley stumbled across it. It was sitting at just 10 feet of water. Probably the shifting sand in the area made it more noticeable. Yep, equipment is the key when it comes to some really exciting discoveries, like sonars the family had or, say, a metal detector. 8-year-old Lucas Atchison also got lucky, but with his birthday gift, a metal detector. He was hoping to find some treasure on a beach, but instead, the boy found a steel spike during a family trip in Ontario. The boy's father told him it was just a basic spike used to tie boats. But Lucas was super curious and insisted they dig deeper. That's how they found the spike was stuck in a piece of wood with more spikes attached. They knew it was a real shipwreck. The boy's father informed the park staff and a local volunteer group that investigates shipwrecks. They got the right permissions, brought their shovels to the site, and uncovered more pieces of the mystery ship. The team found double frames, which pointed to a well-built vessel, most likely a schooner, a wooden sailing ship with 2 or more masts. Volunteers plan to create scale drawings of the wreck, including both top-down and side views. They'll study 19th century ship insurance records to help figure out the ship's age. Details like how many spikes should be used and how far apart they had to be are clues that can help date the wreck. It's almost certain that the ship is the St. Anthony, a schooner that tragically wrecked in 1856 in Lake Huron. At the time of the accident, it was carrying wheat from Chicago to Buffalo. Just a month later, a tugboat called the Fashion was heading to help the stranded St. Anthony, but ended up getting stuck too. The St. Anthony was still stuck, and her wheat cargo had spilled through the bottom of the ship. People still thought they could rescue the vessel, but clearly they never did. Looks like Lucas was the first person to find it over 160 years later. Now, volunteers plan to bury it again to protect it in an anaerobic environment without oxygen, so no parasites or organisms can damage the wreck. It should help preserve the ship's structure for history for at least another 50 years. Another metal detectorist, Cameron Anderson from Scotland, found all 3 pieces of a 4,000-year-old axe head buried on his family's farm. He's been looking for treasures for about 20 years, but he never found anything of this importance before. Cameron was out in one of his fields when he got a strong signal from his brand-new metal detector, which was a Christmas gift from his wife. He started digging and got nothing. But then, the detector pinged again, loud and clear. He dug deeper into sandy soil and found a chunk of bronze shaped just like an axe head. He knew it was something ancient, so he came back the next day and started sweeping the same field again, but this time at the opposite end. That's when he found the second piece of the axe. At that point, he realized one shard was still missing. Tracking down the third part was like hunting for a needle in a haystack, but Cameron managed to do it. He contacted some experts, and they confirmed it was an early Bronze Age flat axe head from a time when humans were just starting to ditch stone tools for metal. These kinds of axes were considered super valuable and prestigious at the time. Experts think someone might have intentionally broken it into 3 parts and buried it, possibly as a sacrifice or ritual offering. Finds like this open up new facts about our distant past, so the axe is super important for science. A mining company worker looking for diamonds along the coast of Namibia accidentally found something way older. There were some blocks of copper, some wood, pipes, and elephant tusks. The miner and his colleagues called for an archaeologist, who soon realized it wasn't a disturbed beach like they thought, but a shipwreck. It was sitting there for almost 500 years. All evidence showed that it was a Portuguese trading vessel, Bom Jesus, that went missing in the 16th century. Experts believe the Portuguese built ships like this to take their explorers on long trips to distant places, like India, China, and Japan, and come back with tons of cargo. The Bom Jesus was most likely traveling, filled to the brim with treasures from Lisbon, Portugal, to western India. But on its way back around the southern tip of Africa, near Namibia, a big storm pushed it too close to the shore. The ship hit a rock, tipped over, broke apart, and sank. The ship was split into 3 sections and incredibly well preserved, thanks to its own hull and thick layers of sand that covered it and prevented rot. Archaeologists who studied the wreck discovered over 40 tons of cargo. There were cannons, swords, blocks of metal like lead and tin, fabrics, and tools that sailors used to navigate the stars while traveling across the ocean. The most exciting discovery was 1,845 copper ingots, weighing as much as 16 to 17 tons altogether. Those copper ingots, or pieces of pure metal, are still in great condition because the hull of the ship protected them from the ocean water. There were also 105 enormous elephant tusks, weighing about 2 tons. Those were probably supposed to become luxury items, like jewelry or carvings at the destination. Archaeologists took some DNA samples from the tusks and found that they came from West African forests and savanna elephants. All the treasures from the shipwreck are worth over $13 million. Because the ship was in a restricted diamond mining area, no bad guys could get their hands on all these treasures for years. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.